Good evening, Stanton, and welcome to KA18, your home for the best music from the 20th and 21st century. This is your host, Santa Claus, joining you for your evening commute. We are broadcasting live from White Tech Tower here in Area 18, and I hope you are all doing exceptionally well this evening. We got a good show lined up tonight, one actually with a little bit of a twist and change up from the previous show. First little up, we got the latest untold story. And then after the first set of songs, we're going to get into an article straight out of the United NewsOrg. So pull up your favorite captain's chair and settle in for the spooky story. We live in an era where scientific understanding and innovations have taken us to the stars. Though we've learned so much about our universe, many stories of unexplained phenomena exist that not only confound the senses, but make us question our reality. These are the universe's untold stories. Pyro is an unforgiving system where life is constantly under threat from intense solar flares. First visited in 2493 by a nav jumper sent by a mining company, Pyrotechnic Amalgamated, the expense of overcoming the system's unforgiving conditions bankrupted the business in 2563. Some analysts argue this outcome was predictable because of the company's overly aggressive expansion plan. But others have come to believe failure was written in the stars and prophesied by a mysterious force known as the Prophet of Pyro. In 2548, Pyrotechnic Amalgamated workers deep within a mine on Pyro 2 first started reporting a strange voice. Site supervisors didn't give the stories much weight until some workers refused to enter that mine, claiming the voice kept whispering, "Leave or be crushed." One miner even wandered off in search of the voice and suffered a severe injury from a fall. Following this incident, the site supervisor ordered a complete sweep of the mine and a check of all mining suits and communication equipment. When nothing strange or unusual was found, miners were told to get back to work or be fired. For years, workers claimed to hear a mysterious voice at odd times, but were always placated by supervisors claiming it was only an auditory anomaly caused by the way the air moved through the mines, or was just their overactive imaginations. These incidents are the first recorded encounters with the Prophet of Pyro, claims Kiana Richards, an independent investigative journalist with an intriguing new theory about the Prophet. Richards has reviewed hundreds of comms and internal messages between Pyrotechnic Amalgamated employees in her search for precious details regarding the incidents. Some believe these stories were fabricated years later by the company executives to pass off the company's failings. There's an extensive paper trail that proves something strange was definitely going on. Several miners even requested transfers out of fear that the voice was warning them of an impending collapse. While the mine never actually collapsed, Pyrotechnic Amalgamated did. Crushed by the cost of building a station around Pyro 6, when the system's mines weren't as productive as hoped, the company, it didn't survive. Still, enough workers experienced the phenomena that after Pyrotechnic Amalgamated crumbled, people began to believe that the voice was actually a warning to the company. According to Richards, that's how the legend of the Prophet of Pyro really took off. No one knows the origin of the name Prophet of Pyro, but it was commonly used within the system by the 27th century. Several derelict ships of the era had been discovered with intact black boxes containing comms referencing it. By then, the mysterious and prophetic voice had become part of the system's folklore. People believed the story is enough to actively look for the alleged prophet, but there was one small issue. No one knew exactly which of the abandoned mines contained it. By the time the legend became widespread, most of the Pyrotechnic Amalgamated miners who experienced it firsthand had either left the system or died, notes Richard. Even the company's comms I've examined don't specify the exact mine, only the sector where it occurred, which contains almost 100 different sites. During the early part of the 27th century, several people claimed to have received a revelation from the prophet of Pyro, but their tales did little to increase the legend. That is, until Tufo Fitzhugh, whatever. Tufo Fitzhugh claimed to have had an experience with the prophet. It was a story that would go on to alter the system's history. Tufo led a small crew of ultra-violent outlaws known as the Abyss, who were primarily targeting miners searching Pyro 2 for overlooked deposits. Following one such operation, Tufo claimed a mysterious force drew her deep into a mine, where she repeatedly heard the words, "Ruler of Ruin." Convinced it was a revelation from the prophet of Pyro, Tufo told the Abyss that it was their destiny to take over Ruin Station, an extremely ambitious goal considering the Ikabu? Ikiabu gang had kept the orbital platform under their iron grip for decades. Still, Tufo leveraged her steadfast belief in the prophecy to convince others to join her cause. In 2678, through a few strategic alliances and an impeccable plan that drew a significant portion of the ruling Ikabu gang away from Ruin Station, Tufo and the Abyss overtook the station in a surprise attack. They immediately locked down the station and successfully defended it from the remaining members of the previous gang for nearly 3 weeks. When dust settled, the prophecy had come true. The Abyss were the new rulers of Ruin Station. The Abyss coming to control Ruin was a milestone moment for both Pyro and the legend of the prophet, says Richards. Previously, only the biggest gangs in the system fought for control of the station, but the Abyss upended that convention. We now know that it was because Tufo Fitzhugh was a gifted intelligence gatherer strategist who exploited the Ikabu's weakness. And was this all preordained by the prophet of Pyro? Who knows? The shocking and sudden rise of the Abyss inspired other outlaw factions to dream big and seek the prophet of Pyro for a glimpse into their own destiny. Meanwhile, Tufo and the Abyss proved to be better conquerors than rulers. Within a matter of years, Ruin Station was frequently under attack by other gangs hoping to unseat them as well. The constant fighting reduced Ruin Station to a wasteland, a fate that reportedly angered and confused Tufo, who returned to Pyro 2 in hopes of receiving another divination from the prophet. It's unknown if she received it, as her ship was attacked and destroyed during her return. The Abyss lost control of Ruin Station shortly thereafter to a coalition of smaller gangs who would in turn spend the next year fighting each other for the control of the station. That now infamous year, deemed the Fight of Five Gangs, cemented Ruin Station's status within wider popular culture as an extremely dangerous destination and perennial power keg. According to Richards, 3 of the gangs who fought for control of Ruin Station claimed to have received the blessing of the prophet. Clearly, public belief was significant enough that these gangs thought the endorsement of the prophet was essential to their claim to power. Richards notes that there's no evidence any of these gangs even searched the mines of Pyro 2 for the prophet, and she believes their claims to be nothing more than political propaganda. Meanwhile, after a decade of intense research, Richards is ready to reveal an exciting new theory about the potential source of the prophet of Pyro. I've spent years cataloging all references to the prophet of Pyro. When I charted them, a clear pattern emerged. Interestingly enough, stories of encounters with the prophet seem to spike significantly when strong solar flares strike the system. Richard's research showed intense solar flares hit the system when pyrotechnic amalgamated miners first heard the voices, and occurred again in 2678 when Tufo claimed to have experienced her revelation. Is it merely coincidence, or a potential key to unlocking the mystery behind the prophet? Richards admits she wasn't the first to ponder this connection. One pyrotechnic amalgamated technician had presented this theory in a message to the company executives, stating that the mysterious voice might be the result of an auditory anomaly caused by the interplay between intense solar flares and the metal-rich mines. Richards uncovered the exchange during her research, but her initial inspiration came from a more modern source. It started when I was researching the fire rats for an article on the behaviors of cult-like gangs. It's widely known that one of the fire rats' initiation rites involves exposing oneself to a solar flare as a form of purification. But I also discovered that some long-standing members of the gang would vanish during times of intense solar flares. So I set out to see exactly what they were doing. What Richards discovered via dogged investigation and confidential interviews with current and former fire rats was that enlightened members of the gang often visited Pyro 2 during the times of intense solar flares to commune with the prophet. No one I spoke with would confirm if these journeys were to a specific location or simply the planet in general, recalls Richards. But seeing them make this connection inspired me to analyze the historical data around reported encounters and solar flare activity to see if it had any merit. After a decade of hard work, I truly believe there's a connection. While the fire rat's beliefs surrounding the prophet remain a closely held secret, Richard's research has led her to develop her own theory. I don't think the prophet of Pyro is confined to one special mine on Pyro 2. I believe that powerful bursts of energy produced by solar flares are somehow collected and amplified by large metal deposits inside the mines, meaning when conditions are right, the prophet of Pyro can be heard in several spots across the planet. When Untold Tales returns, Kiana Richards travels to Pyro 2 during a period of intense solar flare activity to put her theory to the test. Man, that's intense. And that's why you stay the hell away from Pyro, that's for sure. Whew. Yeah, no thanks. Man, Pyro's even got cursed mines and pirates. I'm out. All right, that's going to do it for our first segment. We're going to hit some songs and come right back and go over something stuff from the United NewsOrg. So for now, sit back, relax, and let your favorite co-pilot take care of you as you ride on that quantum highway.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. I'm inspired by thirst. I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. The gas in the back of the sun, she's so bad. Can't make the right up. I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me, come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
It's just another night in the Stanton system as the verse swarms with mischief and romance. But despite the going on of a diverse world, the members of Elite Expeditionary remain steadfast in the swift delivery of justice.
Reaper 1, wheels up. Reaper Flight, you are cleared to lock and spool.
While some seek love upon the polished decks of a luxury Voyager, fugitives toil and tumble in a white-knuckle fight of their lives. As the desire for a tender touch swells with promise, the cold, hard hammer of law and order strikes down with vengeance upon the wicked. No matter what the verse might yield for its many folk, if you're a member of Elite Expeditionary, every night ends with a bang.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope your travels across ArcCorp are stress-free and profitable. In the previous segment, we read the latest Untold Stories edition about the Prophet of Pyro. Still makes me not want to go there, and I'm never going to. No need to. But let's move on. A special shout out to all my cargo haulers out there dashing across the system, moving that lair at night from Walla. You stay safe out there, guys. All right, let's open up this next article. This one comes from New United NewsOrg. It's a little piece called Lobbyists Under Scrutiny After Arrest, written by Chandra Truck. Fallout continues in the wake of last week's arrest of 6 Terrell Foodstuffs Associated lobbyists, now charged with violating the Empire's laws governing how lobbyists interact with the Senate. The extensive list of infractions and corruption charges outlined a concerted effort to illegally influence new food safety legislation currently being discussed in the committee. Although the advocacy has not commented on the investigation, additional accusations of undue influence have swirled across the political spectrum, prompting renewed calls for a reworking of the Empire's complex lobbying system. Many believe that the current system of rules has become ineffective, and some powerful voices are beginning to call for the total elimination of the institution. The Senate's current regulations for lobbyists began following the fall of the Messer administration, which took an under-moderated, anything-goes approach to political influence. The initial set of rules, which included a basic lobbyist registration system and a loyalty oath, was supplanted in 29-22 in response to a bribery scandal not much dissimilar to the one making news today. In addition to further limits on face-to-face interaction between lawmakers and lobbyists, the updated regulations required stronger general disclosure of all registered lobbyists, established a database of authorized senatorial lobbyists that tracks all meetings and government interactions, significantly reduced the amount of direct interaction anyone but a constituent can have with a senator, and outright banned most forms of gifts. The law was reviled by the industry at the time as overreaching, with significant protests from major industry figures. Now critics claim that lobbyists have adapted to these laws by finding loopholes and developing new, less regulated ways to impact lawmaking. Alicia Kane, chairperson of lobbyist monitoring group Undue Influence, says that the system must be completely overhauled once again. Look at aerospace companies. They figured out that with the proper ad messaging, they can access the public consciousness directly and avoid running afoul of regulations, she says. So instead of buying a senator directly, They now try to shape that senator's whole constituency, and the results are the same. The rich get richer, and the window for innovation gets even smaller. Who's to say Anvil makes the best fighter ships in the galaxy when they control the message and make sure no one in power would ever even associate a company like Drake or Argo with that job? Trip Gangler, a senior accounts manager covering Anvil Aerospace for the consulting firm First Strike, disagrees. The fact is that the current system works. There's less underground lobbying today than ever before. So while I understand the fervor over the arrest, additional regulation will just slow the process at a time when fast military production and equipment adoption in particular is essential to everyone in the empire. I don't think lobbyist has necessarily become a dirty word yet, but I do think we're in the midst of a particularly delicate time. There's very little understanding of the important job Senate lobbyists do or the intense level of scrutiny we are already under. A few bad apples aside, our work is performed ethically and is essential to moving our political process forward. Gangler, an effusive Earthborn citizen in his mid-50s, is a veteran naval officer who rose through the ranks to command a hammerhead before a combat injury forced him into retirement. Gangler's firm, First Strike, works directly with lawmakers, directs public affairs messaging, and undertakes a more wide-ranging projects to help maintain its clients' various interests. The firm employs roughly 3,500 people in key markets, with most work currently contracted to Anvil Aerospace. The core team is located in a small headquarters on New York's East 73rd Street, not far from the Senate itself, making a fitting location to support the empire's largest trading aerospace concern. His familiarity with military command and seemingly endless natural charisma made him an ideal pickup for the First Strike when he joined back in 2938. The days of imported Terran steaks and free-flowing Radagast were before my time, Gangler explains. Since 22, everything that costs more than 50 credits is meticulously logged, explained, and reviewed. I can tell you how many pens in my office were used a decade ago, and so can half a dozen regulatory bodies. But pens don't matter, he continues. The galaxy is an incredibly complex place, and on any given day, a senator will interface with their staff about everything from sentient rights to the complex details of spectrum broadcast licensing. And in between, they're doing some pretty important work, like choosing the weapons that will be used to defend our planets. The way I like to look at it, it's our job to make sure they have the information needed to make these vital decisions. A lot of people outside the industry are surprised to learn that I don't spend more than an hour or two a week actually talking to politicians, Gangler explains. The old stereotype of the glad-handing lobbyists slapping backs and handing out favors has no place in modern government. Most of those calling for reform don't believe that what we provide is an essential service. But the truth is that lobbyists have expanded greatly beyond just petitioning senators on behalf of our clients. We are a vital resource that has become integral to the lawmaking process. Most days of the week, you're going to find my office working to track down answers on some of the Senate's hardest questions. Believe me when I say that you're going to sleep better knowing the people making decisions about your defense have instant access to data about how the current year Hornet outclasses the Gladius, or that the fleet supply chain is expected to extend to needing additional tankers, tenders, repair ships. I mean, with how many hostile things have gotten out there, I, for one, want to make sure they make the right choice to protect our empire. Detractors like Kane charge that most of what lobbyists do is little more than targeted advertising. lobbying groups are increasingly spending larger portions of their budgets on advertising and dynamic media intended to imprint their messages on decision makers and the voting populace. First Strike maintains a process group wholly devoted to helping license Anvil Aerospace's brand and products to everyone from frozen food manufacturers to hollow makers. Thanks to this streamlined process, Anvil's Hornet alone has shown up in over a dozen ads this past year for brands not directly connected to the ship manufacturer. On Spectrum, approved productions that would benefit from real hardware are even able to obtain a camera-ready Hornets, Gladiators, and other ships at below industry standard rates. From school lunches with the adventures of a pioneering Carrack crew printed on the packages to hurricane silhouettes adorning disposable playing cards, lobbying organizations like First Strike spend billions to ensure their charges are as widely recognized as possible. Through First Strike, Anvil also invests heavily in influencing military media. The results there speak for themselves, with the Hornet and Gladiator spacecraft being far and away the most common design seen everywhere, from recruiting posters to deep space propaganda broadcast. Here again, Gangler believes that keeping the Anvil brand in the forefront of association with military success is key to making sure the corporation keeps its prime contractor status. If you leave it to the accountants, Gangler explains, you're going to have the worst performing ship every single time. It's worth it for every single person involved to invest in influencing the powers that be to do the right thing instead of the cheap thing. With increasing calls for transparency and an upcoming military spending addendum bill that is poised to authorize a major extension to Anvil's F-8 program, Gangler has his job cut out for him. In spite of his spirited defense of lobbying role in lawmaker, it's clear that there are questions yet to be answered and deep concerns over the breadth of control a single, well-funded firm can have over issues important to so many across the empire. With even well-respected corporations like Anvil Aerospace and Aegis Dynamics funneling billions into increasingly wide-ranging public relations efforts, the issue of oversight becomes ever more important. If something as innocuous as a foodstuff concern like Terrell can exercise seemingly unchecked control over government safety regulations, Kane asked, then could decisions impacting the defense of our planets be similarly lopsided? Are other companies losing out on military contracts because of their hardware or because their competitors spent more on lobbying? These are questions that seem increasingly likely that the Senate must address directly and soon. All right, that was a very heavy article, but very important, and I hope everyone took a chance to really listen and dive into that, because it concerns all of us when you have lobbyists influencing senators, and it kind of keeps me up at night wondering if the best right equipment is being purchased or just the most popular. So, but hey, let's relax a little bit, shake it off, and get a couple more songs going on, and I'll see you on the other side of these tracks.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on that tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. She got a bad little waist and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, got some egos to the face. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine. From pain, it's a blessing, new focus, no guessing. Just bold an obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place. I wanna be first, work till it hurts. Dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. Cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets held tight up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want. So give me all the scars, I'm a human being. Cover them with tattoos so you can't see. Knew it from the start, you had problems with me and the things I could be, I just wish I had seen. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want.
From deep space prospecting to subterranean asset recovery, let our professionals handle the risk so you can concentrate on the results. At KA Mining and Reclamation, we are...
Welcome back, Stanton. As we wrap up tonight's show, I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. It means a lot to us here at KA18. Hopefully by now everyone has finally made it home and your commute has come to an end. For all you miners out there, hopefully you've already got your feet on the landing pad and roping in that quantanium so it doesn't blow your ship up. Haulers, hopefully you've already touched down here in Area 18 and headed to TDD and sold your wares. For all you pirates out there, hopefully you got your piece as well. This is your host, Santa Claus, signing off, and I will see you next time.